we go. Oh.
Day 1. 109 kilometers to ride, 2,480 meters to climb. I'd already been in Pokhara for a week when my friend mentioned Tilicho Lake, the highest lake in the world, they said. A week's cycle or 2 weeks trek around the back of the Annapurna range, which towers over the small town in central Nepal. The next day, I left at 6 in the morning with my map, camping supplies, and enough food for 3 days.
I'm climbing through the mist that's met me this morning. It's very humid, but at least it's not super hot yet. The roads have got smaller and smaller, and I've hit the first climb. It's gone very quickly from road to gravel to just plain old mud. What a beautiful country. Unbelievable.
Just 4 hours in, I heard the telltale crunching sound of a flat tire. I set about repairing it on the outskirts of a busy village.
The road is officially ended, and I've passed all the big groups of hikers. Let's see how far I can get. What an amazing trail. I'm on the jeep track up to the Annapurna starting point, but I met a local teacher who gave me some advice on stopping to acclimatise to altitude, and says that the track is decent for most of the way. You just have to carry your bike for some segments, so that gave me a little bit more motivation. Got about an hour and then I'm camping up. Wow, Nepal is something else. Cycling for 12 hours, climbing 2,300 meters, but all mountain bike, gravel, stony tracks. I had to pull my bike up 5 or 6 times already, and I only reached the Annapurna National Park about 3 hours ago. I had a real crisis of confidence when I was about halfway. Just couldn't get the strength to pedal up some of these steep hills, and I'm just really nervous about altitude sickness. I've never ridden above 2,000 meters before, and tomorrow I'm going to climb above up to 4,000 if all goes well. I've got advice from one person about this route, but I've not seen a single bike all day, so it's always off-putting to be the only bike. Everyone's passing me in jeeps on the way to the trailhead, but I've picked a good campsite with a little stream. I'm absolutely mucky as hell from the road. I've never been this dirty. I've never been this sweaty either. Let's have a wash, cook up some food, and man, get some well-deserved rest. I've got full 3-course meal today. I've got Maggi noodles, a tin of beans that I cooked in its tin, so I have no idea what they're going to taste like. And I got this crazy dessert at lunch. I'm looking forward to, without a doubt. It looks very, very sweet. Do you know what? There's nothing better than the simple things: food, rest, shelter, when you've just been out there all day. I don't think I've ever felt as tired after a cycling day. My throat's full of dust. I can't even think about tomorrow. I'm going to ache so much.
Day 2. 49 kilometers to ride. 2,504 meters to climb.
I had a somewhat damp evening because of a rainstorm that came through just after sunset. But I feel quite rested. My legs are actually feeling amazing. We'll see what happens when I actually get on the bike. But today I've got to see how much carrying's involved. Get my first exposure to cycling above 2,000 meters. When I spoke to a school teacher yesterday, I was amazed. He was telling me he teaches 250 students. And I asked, oh, do they get a bus in every morning? And he was like, no, you can't get a bus around here. It's all walking. Because there's these really not insignificant sized villages. That just to the left of that sky and the rock, there's a village of about 20 or 30 houses. There's a lot of people, but it's hundreds of meters up vertical cliffs. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable that people would live there or have lived there for so long. And we're just coming up to the snow. You can see the first snow-topped peaks over there. Feeling better today, but obviously feeling yesterday's 110 kilometers. But mentally I'm in a better place. Jeep traffic's a bit quieter this morning as well, which is nice. So it's just me and the bike on this loose sand. Going to deflate the tyres a bit, I think, to get grip. And fingers crossed I won't have to push too much.
I stopped at a roadside hut for a tough local pancake with fresh honey for breakfast.
There's a hiking trail. It's Jagat. And this is the road.
By the time the road ended, I'd been cycling solidly for 8 hours on gravel roads and tracks. Where the Jeep stopped, the grade became steeper and steeper. Soon, I ground in my lowest gear continuously for hours at a time. When the road surface broke into a stream, or the gravel gave way to a river, I had no choice but to push.
Such a beautiful country. So beautiful. I'm feeling good today. Passed a lot of trekkers along the way. Had to push my bike for quite a long distance. You really don't see on this video how many hours I spend climbing massive hills though. It's very hard to get across just the sheer effort that goes in. We're in a good place to do it after cycling from the UK.
But wait a minute, how did I end up here in the first place? It all started when I was a child. My dad, my sister and I lived above a bike shop run by a local mechanic called Steve in Norwich, England. For my 16th birthday, my dad bought me a bike frame that Steve had had laying in the back of his shop for a few years. It was a large steel frame with the words World Tour written on the side. I suppose that's where the dream was born. I built up a bike using spare parts from broken down bikes that summer. While my friends were thinking about university and partying, I left to cycle the length of France with nothing but an atlas map of the country. I always had dreams to travel around the world, and that trip changed me. But my life caught up, and 7 years later, I'd never made it further than the Mediterranean Sea. Now was time to take that chance. So 18 months ago, I got my old bike out of the shed and took to the road, travelling across 25 countries to get here, Nepal, and onwards.
It's no longer a road, it's a river. Whoa, look at that. This bit obviously gets no sun. A huge lump of ice. Look at the clouds down there for scale. It's like an iceberg. Now she blows. Annapurna Peak, shrouded in mist. I've seen that from the other side, from the Pokhara side, and now I'm 180 kilometers around the back. Check out my campsite today. Just amazingly, I've got my own swing bridge. Check out my view for dinner.
Day 3. 47 kilometers to ride, 2,579 meters to climb.
Okay, it's 4 AM. It's totally dark, but I'm pushing for the lake anyway. Just packing up my stuff. And then I'll be out there, have an apple and some oats. And I'll start pushing the bike uphill. As you can see, 1,000 feet higher means a lot colder. It's about 10 degrees last night. My sleeping bags worked well, and this morning I managed to swap into full thermals while still in the bivvy, which is some feet. And now I'm just going to keep moving. As soon as I start moving, I'll have to take all my layers off. But yeah, while I'm packing away, making use of everything. Still feeling good. Need to figure out if I can actually make it today. A lot of decisions to make. A lot of hard decisions to make. Here I am on the track this morning. What an amazing view. About 10-15 degrees, but I'm already sweating, so I've got to balance it. This whole place is out of this world. No one's awake. You have sharp shadows up here. check out this awesome little airport, Manang Airport. This is Manang, the last village on the Jeep trail, and my decision-making point. Do I carry on with all my kit? Or do I leave some stuff behind?
The trail finally gave way to a track cut in the side of cliff faces, joined with suspension bridges over the vast and deep gorges below.
I've left Manang, left my main bags there, and I've just got enough to get me hopefully up to the base camp at the lake. I met some people who came the other way who said that there's a big section that's just a landslide, so yeah, could be fun. I'm definitely feeling the effects of altitude now, so I'll have to see if I start to get too dizzy or too out of breath. I'll turn around. I can still do mental maths right now, but obviously if that goes, it's kind of too late. Also, I was saying a prayer on the way up at one of the temples, and I think I may have angered the gods of the mountain because I've got a strong headwind for the first time. It's always been an up valley wind, but today it's a strong headwind. I would describe this track as hiking with occasional mountain bikeable sections. This is what it's mostly like. So I've got two choices. I can carry the bike up there, get an extra 500 meters on the clock, or I can take this route which goes down and traverses some scree slopes. If I start going down that way and it's blocked, then I have to go back up and then up again. So it's a hard decision. I'll have to see as I get closer what it looks like. But you probably didn't hear any of that because it's windy. Mountain biking at 4,000 meters. Check out my lunch stop. It's crazy to think that Pokhara is only 60k directly that way, yet it's taken me 3 days to get there, or to get here, and I'm not even at the top yet. Whoa, it's just a landslide over there. Can you see the dust? Oh man. Definitely breathing heavy. So let's see how I feel when I get there. Or if I have to turn around halfway through. Yuck, 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 yuck. What am I going to do now? Wow, this scree field is not funny. Stone's coming straight down from there, over that edge.
On the edge of the steep scree slope, I got another puncture. Exhausting from the never-ending climbing, short of breath from the sudden altitude change, I felt like I was an autopilot, pushing and pushing to keep going. As the scree slope continued and stones dropped away into nothingness below, my bike threatening to pull me down with it, I was overcome by the feeling that I should have turned back long ago. I wasn't meant to be here.
I'm shaking. Just made it through this scree field. Look at the dropway. Whoa, I can't look at it. It's not reassuring at all when the pebbles move from under your feet as well. Screaming down below you, thousands of feet. Have to do it on the way back as well. Up there is the mighty lake, but I'm not going to make it today. There's the base camp. That's where I'm going to go. Too much scree slope climbing for me. It's taking a long time, and I can feel myself getting really tired. So best to drop down and eat some food before doing anything else, making a decision. This is hard. It's very hard. Hey. How you doing? I'm stopped. I'm at the Tilicho Lake base camp. Frustratingly close, 6 or 7 kilometers from the lake. But I can't make it any further today. I'm exhausted from the scree slope. The adrenaline from the pebbles rushing away. And I've got a room, 500 rupee room. It's the room with a view. And tomorrow I'll give it a go. It's my last chance. Wish me luck.
As a snowstorm rolled in, I realised that tomorrow was my last chance to reach the lake before I had to head back to Pokhara. I settled down into the cold under piles and piles of blankets for a night of strange and restless dreams.
I'm leaving by midnight to into the camp to get up to the lake. So I've started out on the trail half an hour before sunrise, but there's a crescent moon with enough light to glint off the snow, and the stars are still visible. God, I can't believe what I've been through the last few days. It's nuts. But now I just gotta focus, get to the top. A couple of hours, and I'll finally make it to the lake. I've left my bike behind. I left my kit behind before that. Now it's just me and the trail, and my thoughts, and this torch. I've been thinking, a lot of people ask me what the name of my bike is, because obviously there's...
Hypoxia is common with travellers who ascend too quickly. Symptoms vary from person to person and are hard to diagnose. They can include confusion,
A lot of people ask me what the name of my bike is, because obviously
shortness of breath,
10,
sweating,
15 degrees, but I'm already sweating, so...
confusion.
There's so many connotations of like...
Often you don't notice the symptoms coming on until it's too late.
That I'm very comfortable with. So somehow, on the way up, I started laughing because the name Konstantin came in my head. So I think I'm gonna have to name my bike Konstantin from now on.
I made it. Against all of the doubts of the guides that I'd passed, against the falling rocks, against the wind and snow, Against the voices in my head saying it wasn't possible, I made it.
Look at the snow blowing over the top of those peaks.
After 18 months on the road, crossing continents, remote mountain passes, and through some of the world's busiest cities, I suddenly realised, surrounded on all sides by snow and ice, that this was the first moment of true silence I'd ever experienced. In this stillness, I realised something, that a challenge always seems more scary if you've never tried it before. Before I left to cycle around the world, I lay awake for days worrying about all that would go wrong. But after the first day, the first week, the first month on the road, I realised that I could do it. In this moment, the highest person for 100 kilometres around, I realised that achieving my dream was possible.
This time last year, I was in London just finishing the last days of my job, packing my kit into a bag, clearing out my flat, saying goodbye to friends and family. I had no idea if I'd be able to sustain my dream of cycling around the world. I couldn't have believed that not only a year later would I have cycled 13,000 kilometres around the world.
As if to shatter the illusion, the silence was broken by a booming avalanche across the lake.
Holy. I thought a jet was passing over.
It was time to cycle home.